But I mean, if Leland Sklar would get his shit together, it would be really good.
Well, I told you it's helpless.
You know,
it's fruitless.
You know, the beard's fake.
How are you, Leland?
I'm fine.
Don't get me.
I didn't know props were optional, but
well, I look at anything I can do to get me in the game is really good. I saw that red mic screen.
Oh yeah,
the pop there. I just thought, I may as well join in.
I know I do.
It's fantastic.
I'm so sorry that I can't contribute.
How was Phoenix?
It's awesome. I'm sitting in a retirement community, obviously, big. Their theater is the best I've been in yet. It's 300 seaters and it's filled at 10 a.m. I started the talk.
Fantastic.
I told them, I said, first of all, my alarm just went off, which is for my wake up call, and you guys were already here.
Well, they already had breakfast. Are you at a Florida Film Festival?
No, I'm at a cinema society. This guy, Andy Friedberg, he brought out Wrecking Crew many, many years ago. He's one of the first people that found me and started, I would play at his cinema society in Phoenix in San Diego. Okay. So Leland and I did San Diego 2 days ago.
Yeah, the night before last.
Yeah, and it's just, what it is, it's so much fun because for me, I'm hitting people that would not necessarily be watching this film. And they become my little soldiers. Our demographic is great. It's perfect, 70 plus.
They're really old.
Yeah. I don't want to say anything, but we're rushing to get them to see it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right, Leland?
It's when you have Metamucil and Malox as the sponsors for the thing. And it's Seritan.
Don't forget, I'm going for the Depends.
What are you wearing? It depends. What are you wearing? Depends.
This is how it's going to go, isn't it, Adam?
I could care less. I'm so thrilled to have you guys on. It's like a.
What do you live? Are you in Woodstock?
What's that?
Do you live in Woodstock?
No, I don't live terribly far. I'm a city guy originally. I mean, it was down the city a really long time, but I'm now on the other side of the Hudson. So on the New York City side of the Hudson, north of the city of a little while. Yeah, not terribly far from Woodstock. There's so much music up here, though. I mean, it's really great. And I work at a radio station, so I'm like
completely... You're inundated.
Yeah.
That's great, though.
Yeah. It's a real independent, it's a real indie radio station. All of the sponsors are regional, individually owned, independent, businesses. So it's just an amazing thing.
Kind of like PBS.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
They could use a couple of big grants, though, I'm sure, like PBS. But
get you the Koch brothers.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's see. When was our Woodstock Film Festival screening? It would have been, I guess,
a month ago, maybe.
Like 1 month ago, maybe. Yeah.
Feels like it. It's weird because it feels like yesterday, but then again, so much has gone on so quickly.
Yeah. What has?
And because we went we left Woodstock.
Went to Nashville.
No, we went to Wichita first.
Oh.
And then Nashville. And Leland and I left Woodstock at 2 a.m. Got to the airport, flew to Wichita, did Wichita that night, and then the next morning flew to Nashville. And we got 2 audience awards, one in Woodstock and one in Wichita. So
deserved.
Well, it makes us feel better.
Well. The audience,
what's that?
The audiences were great, and we did the Q&As, and there were insightful questions and stuff. So it was really a pleasurable experience. I loved it. I wish I could do every single one of them.
Because this is different for you, right? I mean, you, Lee, right? You haven't done, most of the time when you're talking to audience members, it's about music, not necessarily like film. right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it a different feeling?
It's a totally different, it's a different feeling. And yeah, it's a totally different headspace because I'm coming at it from a completely different angle.
Mhm.
Because they're addressing our history. And usually when I'm talking about something, I'm addressing the moment.
Right. A current
So,
project or the moment. Yeah.
yeah. So it's been really an exceptional thing. And for me, really the joy of this has been for the fact that first off, the connection I feel with Denny is huge just because I worked with his dad so much. I mean, he was one of my favorite players ever. And I was a massive fan of the Wrecking Crew from the get-go. So to have a continuum like this going on is pretty cool. You know, I love it. I really love it.
It's funny because I think it was yesterday in the Q&A, Lee, someone brought something up. I can't remember how it came up. I said, basically how we knew each other. And I said, well, I actually met Leland first time was during the making of the Wrecking Crew. I said, you know, we'd be doing not a book signing, a DVD signing at Amoeba Records, 100 people around the corners waiting to sign, DVD from Hal Blaine and Don Randy. And there's Lee in the middle of the line. I said, what are you doing? Get over here. You know, Lee was like so supportive. You know what I mean? It was like he was always there. Always there. When the guys had their hands in cement, Lee was there. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that are not as real as Lee. Good or bad, Lee.
Yeah, I know. Looking at this, it doesn't look real anyhow. So.
Well, I mean, actually, the way I got a sense of Lee, of your personality, and I think I mentioned this when I met you, is that, I had come upon your YouTube channel during the pandemic and started watching it, kind of getting a little addicted to it, I don't mind saying. And there, you really it was like this combination of your anecdotes, about playing with so many musicians. And I didn't realize and one thing I appreciate, because I have the same sensibility around music, is, and this goes to the whole band, the immediate family, that it's not corporations and music companies decided this song or this album goes into this genre.
Yeah.
And this, but as a musician, you don't come from that space. You come from, this is soulful music and this is authentic music. I don't care what you want to call it. And I want to play on it, and I want to play with this person because, they're either really cool or they're talented or they're just somebody that holds a certain mystique for me. And I want to, get to know them. And I just got that whole sensibility, if that's the right word, through your YouTube channel as well. And I'm like, as then you would talk about your own frustrations and things that were coming up during the pandemic and the lockdown. And I was just I was like, I got really involved, so.
It was a godsend for me. I mean, that whole channel started totally by accident. I had no idea I was starting a YouTube channel. I was just addressing a couple of questions somebody had sent me after a Phil Collins tour. And next thing I know, I'm sitting here 1,200 videos later. So
wow. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I still love it as much as the first day I did it. And
wow, that's something.
It's a real adventure every day. I mean, when we finish this interview right now, then at 1:00 we have a band one to discuss our album cover, and in between I'll do today's YouTube video. So, but in my heart of hearts, I really wish I was in Phoenix, because I just love going to these things.
Yeah. Well, we have the DOC NYC one. I don't know if that's the next one you're doing, but I guess that's one of the main reason why we're together today is because they're DOC NYC, and I actually worked with that film festival one year, and I know the people that run it. They're great people. They were such invested in. They've really made they've contributed to making documentaries like a real thing, in the last 20 years.
That's great.
Yeah. And so that film, and I think it's become like the largest documentary film festival in the world. And your screening of Immediate Family is on Tuesday, November 15th at 9:30 p.m. at the IFC Center. So you'll be hanging out at the Village at
all the guys will be there.
Yeah, the whole band will be there.
Yeah.
And then the 16th also.
Yeah. So
Oh,
check,
right. Are you going to do both Q&As? Is that what you're saying?
I'm doing both for sure.
Oh,
so
that's great.
can I break in for a second?
No,
Break in. It's, of
With
course you can.
breaking news.
Yeah.
17th, they think they're adding another day. They just got a note just like 20 minutes ago from the festival, said they're thinking about adding another day because whatever we're doing it right, and they're selling tickets.
Because if you're going to sell out, that's what, of course, they leave certain amounts of open
Yeah, so I'm
spots
thrilled.
for.
So we got a third day coming up.
okay,
So I'm just
we'll talk.
yeah. So, and no, I'm thrilled. I mean, because it's like playing it in New York City. We haven't even played it in LA.
Right.
That's the funniest thing. Is
Yeah.
people go, when do you play at home? It's like, oh, we'll get there.
Well, there's no real film festival. I mean, it's interesting because the LA Film Festival went away about 5 years ago.
Yeah. It's wacky. I mean, it's just, I don't want to say typical of LA.
Mhm.
We don't appreciate what we have. We have the greatest musicians, the greatest actors, the greatest this. And only until 2 years ago did we have the Motion Picture Museum.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It's almost like, in a weird way, when I was making Wrecking Crew, there was something about how things get tossed aside very quickly. Art,
Disposability.
it's a business, it's a building, it's personality. I mean, guys get, a new guy comes in, oh guy, yeah, the studios, like Gold Star gone. It's whatever it is, and that's how I think LA has always been. And I'm from LA. It's my hometown. I'm born and raised there. I'm most likely will die there, but it's a transient town as much as it is my hometown. And I think we lose respect where other places, they really do respect the arts. Like I'm going to St. Louis for the film festival. I'm going to Minneapolis, Coronado. They have film festivals and they fill them. That's what's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
people.
It's so weird with LA that, I mean, this is really one of the great centers of film in the world. I mean, people think of LA, in Hollywood, and they think of the movies, yet not to have a film festival is like it's
Right.
almost a slap in the face at itself.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things like what Andy's doing and stuff, and when my wife was taking a class through UCLA called Sneak Preview, and Denny came and showed the Wrecking Crew there.
Mhm.
But that's a little thing. It's not like a film festival. It's these individual people that have a passion for film, and they set up these things and they do them, which is fantastic. But to actually have an official thing where they're days or a week of movies or something, to really see what the world's got to offer, not to have that is really kind of pathetic.
That's why I'm really looking forward to New York, because in a sense it's the second home for these guys, even though they do a lot of recording, but it's their friends. It's the same, that business of music. I mean, in those days it was New York and LA.
Yep.
And you had their sections going on, you had the Richard T's and the Steve Gads and all those guys.
Yeah.
And these guys are on the West Coast. So I'm looking forward to really showing it there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure you'll have your big premiere, and everybody will come out for that, and you'll have a big party. I mean, I just have a theory about the LA Film Festival thing. I mean, it did have one for a bunch of years, and Dawn Hudson ran it, I think. Anyway, but I only say this because it's a Hollywood studio town. It's not and most of the films that end up in film festivals are independent films, or they're art films, or they're international, films. And so other than a couple of, let's say, world premieres where they bring out the bigger titles, and they don't even need that because they're premiering those at, they're having splash events for those films already.
Yeah.
So it's almost maybe superfluous to have but the loss is for all those folks that want to see documentaries like Wrecking Crew and Immediate Family, and have that experience of seeing films for the first time and engaging with the filmmakers and the subjects of the films in this case. And it's a really cool experience for a lot of people. That's why it works so well in St. Louis and in other towns you mentioned, because the people feel it's like a exciting moment where they become the ambassadors also of the films. They are the ones that are going to create a buzz around a film, or it's not going to, so it
spread
gets
the word.
Yeah, I mean, just like like Lee and I saw the other day, we went to the Cinema Society in San Diego. It's not a festival, but it's like, God, I wish I did this at home. I said, in LA, it would be fun to have, go once a month, see, a new film that no one's seen yet. And like you said, meet the filmmakers, but, they're out there. We'll find those places, and then I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
This is the best part for me. Someone said, are you tired? Are you tired of it? No, this is the fun part. Like Lee said, he really wants to be here because it is fun to watch I never got tired of watching Wrecking Crew. I was just telling someone just now.
Right.
I wait to see in this film, how the audience is going to be. I go by the first laugh. I can read the first laugh. Are we okay? Or are we going to be in danger? After that. And then I take a breath. I'm okay. And
as soon as Waddy, the first.
That's it. That is it.
Out of his mouth, the place breaks up. I mean, there's no governor on that one. So.
No, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be playing a lot of churches on this one.
It's great, but it's so much fun to sit and just watch people responding. And it was so sweet down in San Diego. I mean, Russ Kunkel and Denny and I were sitting up in the very back row of the theater, watching from back there. And when the thing ended, a lot of people knew we were there, and they stood up and turned around and faced us and clapped.
Yeah.
And that's pretty deep at that point. And it was so much fun to negotiate our way down those stairs to the stage to do the Q&A, and some really insightful questions, and people were really engaged in it. And I think for so many of them, they're really seeing this movie really kind of solidified the musical fabric of their lives, because of that demographic. All that stuff that we played on, for the most part, is the stuff that they were listening to. And so to bring it that much closer to them, where they're really seeing the guys that did it and talking about it and hearing the artists talking about it, it's a unique experience.
Lee, George was at George Crow was at our festival or screening yesterday. It was great because George is one of the photographers that used to hang out, and he was like best friends with Warren Zevon.
Zevon, yeah.
Wow.
And it was great to have his input at the Q&A.
Oh, great.
You know what I mean? Just saying a couple of stories. It's like, I never get tired of these stories. They're always new to me, different ones.
Well, you mentioned Warren Zevon. He's one of the many subjects or artists that are you guys, the media family, have played with, and that is highlighted, I guess, in the film. And I remember at the Woodstock Festival screening that there was somebody asked for an anecdote. Does he hold? I mean, obviously he passed away quite much too early, but does he? Is this like somebody who a lot of people ask about in general, or?
There's always a buzz about Warren, because he was a real integral part of that whole period, and one of the more unique artists of that period. Yeah. And there's still, to this day, there's still a huge undercurrent of people wanting him to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's not in it. And people are posting all the time, why isn't Warren in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? And Waddy's stories about how he hooked up with Warren in it is so good.
Yeah.
And to me, it's one of the more enjoyable segments in the whole movie, the way he talks about meeting Warren. I've seen it now a few times, and I just laugh every time, because that's definitive Waddy. I mean,
and Warren probably.
And Warren. It was great. But some people ask about it. A lot of people think about it. The hard part with Q&As is a lot of people have, like they'll come up to me afterwards and they'll go, I really wanted to ask. And then they tell me what they were going to ask. And I go, why didn't you ask that? but they're kind of shy. They don't want to get on the mic and
Well,
ask.
yeah.
They think their question might be stupid or something. I go, no, that would have been great, you know. So
Well, also, Lee, you know what I found? I've done so many Q&As, and I mean, immediate family is maybe doesn't quite fall into this what I'm about to say, but as much as some other films, it's like you watch a film, and typically after you watch something like a film, you have to let it sink in. It has to you ruminate, and then but with a Q&A, it's right away. You have no time. You kind of just jump into it. So some people might just feel like, I kind of really don't have a question. I'd love to connect with these guys, you know, the people there, but
yeah,
you know,
I'm sure there's an element of that.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, but I've always found too bad you can't go out for dinner, bring everybody back into the theater, you know, for the conversation, because people would have some time to kind of figure out what's on their minds.
yeah.
But I don't know, maybe not so much for immediate family. It sort of has this immediate kind of, yeah.
Well, there's a gut reaction.
So much fun. And it's just.
It's funny because I was at I went to see Banshees the other day in a Q&A, and Lee, I wanted to ask this person a bunch of questions, and I was shy too. I didn't realize, oh yeah, I'm on the other side.
What did you see?
The Banshee movie, the one, what do you call it?
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, that's okay. But now I can't remember. It's it's the one, the Irish film.
Denny, I know that you had gotten the big the big D word thing worked out. Yeah, I think even by the time I met you last month, but distribution.
Oh no, we haven't gotten that yet.
That's still sort of something.
Yeah, and that's why it's really, you know, it's funny because
okay.
Every audience I tell, I said, listen, and these films are word of mouth. You know what I mean? We're not going to kill with a $20 million deal in Sundance. That's not us. You know what I mean? The reason Wrecking Crew took so long is there was no belief that it would ever make money. So when I was raising that money from 96 to 2015 to get it out, I needed this much. But people said, you're never going to get it because it's never going to make this much. It's going to make this much. Oh. So there was that economics. Well, we did make this much in the end.
Yeah.
But it's
so
FU. Yeah. Oh, I got a lot of FUs. I got a lot of people on that list. I can't wait. But it was the belief. It's funny because Andy did a fabulous thing from the Cinema Society, talked about me, and it was really lovely and stuff. I crossed a line on Wrecking Crew. People think I was possessed. I was possessed because I crossed a line. Well, once I did the festivals and we did so well and no one was picking us up, I had no choice but to keep going because I had just invested my house, my family, my future into that. So I had to go and gamble and keep going until we got it out. Mm-hmm. So was I possessed? Yeah. I believe in the film. I knew I was okay because I've seen it hundreds of times with real audiences. But it was the audiences that got that film out because they spread the word. So all of a sudden, when I got all that money, we raised over $500,000 in the end to pay off the licensing. We had everything but a bake sale. I'm telling you, we did everything. And it was the audiences that got me to the finish line. And there were no, people say, who helped you? I said, well, Wells Fargo, Amex, B of A. Yeah, they all took.
Yeah. Wow, corporate sponsors. Lucky.
Yeah, corporate sponsors. Yeah. But
that's a funny. It's a great word.
So these films need word of mouth.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's why I try to emphasize at those things because people don't realize how important they're just sharing this information can be. It could be a lifeline for a film. There's so many, yeah.
And
but I think
it's anything in the arts too. I mean, talk about.
It's a good point.
Nowadays, since there's so few labels and stuff, and so many people are cutting indie recording projects, and when they're finished, what do you do with it other than hopefully get a few people to hear it, dig it, and then they start making posts about on my YouTube thing. I just posted a thing about an artist I did about a year ago named Laurie Basilio, who's a from Sao Paulo, Brazil. She's incredible. She's like a cross between like Satriani and Steve Vai, and she's amazing. But
A guitar
so I was
goddess.
posting her stuff and promoting her on my channel, and all of a sudden people are on there going, "We've added her to our Spotify. She's incredible. We want to do this." And then she comes on and goes, "Thank you so much for this, helping getting." I mean, this really is a community that puts all this stuff together. You know, the big companies, when you're dealing like with Marvel movies and all that, they got this big machine that's going to ram. I mean, they talk about blockbusters before it's even been released. It's really shouldn't be a blockbuster until it proves itself. But, you know, they've got the hype machine going. But what you really hope for is when somebody comes to you and go, "I just saw this great film, man. You got to go check it out." And then somebody does, and then they called some friends, and it really is. It takes that community to really build the interest level on this, and then it can take on a whole life of its own. And
well, you know, it's funny you said something, Lee, and when we were doing the Wrecking Crew, there was people come up to me, because don't forget, I got it out in the festivals in 08, 09, and then you know, people come up to me, "And I love your film. I saw it. How'd you see it?" I saw it on the bus of the Perry Como tour. I saw it on the Elton John flight. I saw it. It was like everybody saw it. So they had bootlegs, and it cracked me up because there was moments like, "Oh, really? Come on!" But the thing was, it was the musicians that spread the word. They're like, musicians are like always wanting, I don't want to say one up on each other. It's like, "Oh man, you should see this guy. Oh man, you should check out my bass." I mean, and they're excited about things to share. Musicians are probably one of the less, and maybe I'm putting you guys too high up, but in terms of jealousy, do you know what I mean? You do work with each other, and
it's a
you
real supportive community.
have to be,
Everybody's rooting for each other.
unless you're a classical guitarist all by yourself. That's it.
And by the way, I think I mentioned I worked at a radio station. Is it possible we just got a new single from Immediate Family?
Yeah. The Toughest Girl in Town, which was a Sparks tune, and Waddy and Cooch heard it, and they fell in love with it and said, "We've got to do that. That's a perfect song for us." And that just came out. I think it's been out since it came out last Friday, and it was number 94, I think, on Spotify a day and a half later.
Oh.
So it has some legs going on, and the video, I think, comes out this weekend. It's really a good video.
Good.
Timely, really timely, and a powerful imagery in it. There's a little of us, but there's a whole other side to this video, and it's really amazing. So it's all exciting. You know, this is a thrilling time in all of our lives to still be doing this.
I think COVID, and I know this sounds crazy, but for a lot of us, and especially with this band, COVID, I think, made us all think differently about our past,
For
or our current, you know, what we were doing then. These guys never, they could have easily, whatever, we won't do this. They could have walked away. But instead, every Friday they have their meetings and their, whatever their Zooms are. And then they put out these videos where, again, by themselves. Don't forget, everybody's 5 of them are filming themselves. And they were able to do something that I could never do, many of us can't do. And it was extraordinary because they were like 20-year-olds. And I don't mean that derogatory, because you know what I mean? You've already succeeded. You've already done things. You could easily walk away, just enjoy the rest of your life and just keep playing or whatever. But they still have that hunger, which we all want, is still have that hunger to see where the next thing goes. You know, we don't, like you said in the movie, Lee, you still get excited every time the phone rings.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. Every time now I get an email, you know, or something, it's like, "Oh yeah, we got another one," or, you know what I mean?
It's thrilling. It's absolutely thrilling. I mean, this is what we've done our whole lives. And it's one of those things, like people have said to me over the years, they said, "So when are you going to retire?" And you go, "From what?" You know, this is not your typical job. This is something that you would have been doing every day if you were doing something else, you know, to pay your bills, like if you were in the corporate world or something like that.
Well, it's what people say when they retire, they're going to start doing with their time is what you do for a living.
I mean, we've been so fortunate. I mean, and it's not
Yeah.
It's not like a fortune that was handed to us. Everybody's busted their balls over the years to really get to where they are and work really hard at honing their craft. But the idea of suddenly going, well, you know, there's a pandemic going on, so let's just call it, you know, nothing's going to happen. It was exciting to have to suddenly discover new opportunities, because we're fortunate from the technological standpoint that sites like Acapella came along, where we could assemble videos by doing individual shots, and then the site itself would kind of help put the whole thing together. And so we were releasing all kinds of stuff during that. We were trying to release as much content as possible to keep the brand on people's minds. And it became as tragic a period as it was, because I've had a number of friends die from COVID and others that are long haul COVID and all. There's no way you would ever diminish the real horror of what this thing has wrought upon us. But it also was a time that really afforded us reflection on what was important, what was working, and when it wasn't there, how are you going to address that and continue on? And it became a really creative period, if you wanted it to be. I mean, a lot of people really fell into doldrums and were ready to pack it all in, but we were pissed. You know, we're kind of going, man, we're finally getting our shot, and then all hell breaks loose. So we wanted just to keep plowing right through this thing. And we're like the train, but with a cow catcher on front. Nothing was going to stop us.
I don't know what that is, but that sounds cool.
It's cow catcher.
I'll show you pictures from when I was
when you were a child, living in the valley.
Yeah.
The name of the documentary is, again, it's called Immediate Family. I don't know where the title comes from, but it's pretty good. It's
Desperation.
It's directed by Denny Tedesco, and among its subjects is Leland Sklar, Danny Kortchmar, Russ Kunkel, Waddy Wachtel, and Steve Postel. And it will be at the next festival. I mean, is there even a festival in between now and DOC NYC, or is that your next?
No. I'm in Phoenix today. Sunday I go to St. Louis for
you mentioned
the 8th. I'm in St. Louis on the 8th, and then I go home, and then I go to Coronado on the 11th, and then in Minneapolis, the Sound Unseen film/music festival on the 13th, and then I go to New York for the 15th, 16th, and 17th.
Right, and the 17th is for the DOC NYC festival.
That's great.
I'm so happy.
Amazing. It's really just people. It's a perfect It's a perfect festival film. I mean, people are just, you know, they love these types of films. And I'm only asking this, Lee, because I saw it on your YouTube show. Right after Woodstock, you had an injury, and yet you wouldn't know looking at you. So I assume everything. I know you had a little plastic surgery, but all these years it took you to have plastic surgery. You're the last.
The only side effect was a month ago I was a 13-year-old girl, and I hit, and a lot of hormones shifted. No, it was one of these things that you get so engrossed in these things. And Denny and I mean, Steve Postel was with us in Woodstock, but after that, Denny and I, like he said, at 2 a.m. we were in a car driving to LaGuardia to fly to Chicago, to then fly to Wichita to do that, then fly back to Chicago to Nashville. And Postel was down there, and Cooch was there. Well, during that whole run, which was really intense, I probably ate 2 meals and maybe had a bottle of water. And I came home on the Monday night, and Tuesday morning, I was standing in front of my house getting ready to go pick up a load of pea gravel for a project I was doing in my backyard, and passed out, fell down, face down.
Wow, sorry to hear that.
Knocked my teeth back. This was all stitched up. Inside of my mouth is all stitched. Hands messed up.
This is just this is like a few weeks ago.
Brain bleed.
Really?
Everything. Yeah. So it's been intense, and I'm just rehabbing my hand because we start rehearsals, I believe, on Monday for the upcoming gigs the band has here in Southern California. And I'm just trying to get my chops back up from this. But it was a really shocking thing. I don't remember any of it. I just remember crawling up the side of a Pac Bell phone company guy's truck who I was talking to at the moment, and it was all covered in blood. So it was,
wow. So sorry.
It was nuts. But it was a lesson learned, just to take care of yourself and not just become totally engrossed in what you're doing and not paying attention to your own well-being in it. So I'm being more cognizant about drinking water, and I get up in the morning, drink a big bottle of water, and take a couple of emergencies, get some electrolytes in me, and I make a smoothie with tons of healthy stuff in it, and I'm off and running at that point. So I don't think it'll happen again, but it was only time that's ever happened in my life. But thank God it didn't happen while I was out with Denny, because he was out.
And I would have been blamed.
You would have been no help at all,
Oh,
especially
no.
going after Woodstock.
Yeah, when I left you in Woodstock, Adam, it was let's just say it was embarrassing, because I left at 2 in the morning. We got in
2
the
a.m.,
car,
yeah.
2 a.m. And I had taken a sleeping pill to try to quickly go to sleep to get a couple hours. Well, that sleeping pill stayed in me. So I don't know how I got.
He was hallucinating.
Yeah, I was totally hallucinating in the back
I
seat.
wish I had hung out with you then.
Oh my God, it was.
It was
Oh,
fantastic. It was so good.
That's why it's like, Leland, he's got years on me. And of course, it was like, I embarrassed myself. I mean, I'm a pussy. I can't take a little tour of 3 days. That's the other thing I got to say. And Leland, when everybody was going to go to Nashville, and he goes, why are I going to Tallgrass in Wichita? I said, you want to come? I'll take you. I just don't, it's funny. There's this fine line of how I feel asking too much from these guys. And it's not asking too much. And it's about them. And
it's a negotiation.
I
mean, of sorts.
I feel like doing it for me and doing it for themselves, but I don't want to.
You don't want to intrude. And
Leland's the one, and Leland's always like, I'll do it. And I'm not saying anything about the other guys. I'm just saying is Leland, if I'm going to be in a foxhole, I want to be with Leland. You know what I mean? We'll keep it at that, right, Lee?
At least we'll be cuddling when the end comes.
There you go. Spoon away. You guys are the best. This was so much fun. Well, thank you for both agreeing to do this and making the time. And
absolutely.
It was so much fun. It's like a bucket list crossed out there. So I know you guys got to go, so I'm going to let you go. And hopefully we'll have an opportunity. Our paths will cross again. I
hope so.
Look forward to that.
I would love it.
And please, anybody come to New York, say hello to us.
I should. I make the trip.
It's going to be interesting seeing, Russ there and Waddy there this time. They haven't seen, other than, Russ saw it the first time with an audience. That was the other thing. We didn't have audiences on this. We always, you do a film, you get test audiences.
You're going to get in trouble because they're trying to get you guys off of this Zoom right now.
Okay, let's get out of here.
And I apologize for interrupting you.
Yes.
But I know how excited you are, and I appreciate it. But I got messages that you guys, we have to shut this down.
All right.
I don't want to piss off my publicist friends,
Never.
Anyway, no.
Right.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. You guys are the best.
It's a pleasure.
Bye, guys. Cheers.
All right. Bye, Denny. Bye, Lee.
Take care.
You too.